Yes, recording is now in progress.
Okay, great. So you'll have 10 minutes once we begin with Peter, and we'll cue you in the chat box on timing cues just to let you know last question. And you can get started whenever you'd like.
All right. I guess let's get started now. It's just like an official political debate. They time it. I don't want to use too much time just babbling. So, hello, Peter Karl.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. Are you in Los Angeles?
I am. I am in Los Angeles. Where are you?
I'm in Ottawa, Canada. So,
Oh, awesome.
so it's late. It's
How
dark. It's
cold is it
cold.
there?
It's pretty cold today. I had to bundle up. Got to start wearing toques. It was weird. It was very warm. Like even last week, it was like summer. But then I thought, oh, maybe this is it. Global warming finally kicked in. But no, we're still getting winter apparently.
No,
Yeah,
it's getting the both extremes now. That's what you're gonna get.
yeah. Basically, it's summer, winter. There's
Yeah.
no easing into it with Paris in spring or New York in the autumn or whatever the
Yes.
romantic things are. But you're in LA, so it doesn't matter. It's all good all the time.
Yeah. We're lucky here. We're spoiled, but we pay the sun tax, we call it.
Yeah. Although I interviewed a guy yesterday. Where does he live? He lives in Montreal now, but he's a composer. He used to be in San Francisco. He's like, I don't like it there. It's like always too consistent. I miss the changing of the seasons. It delineates my life. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh, no, I agree with him. I have a whole theory on this as well.
What's your?
I mean, we don't. Well,
Oh, we're not allowed to talk about stuff like this, but
we can talk whatever the hell you want, man.
Oh, okay. That's what I like to talk about. I'm like, I want to hear what people really think about life and stuff.
Maybe I'll tie this into the whole Ohio State Michigan thing somehow.
Yeah, if you can do that, then it's a win-win.
I think I have an idea.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's your theory on the weather?
Oh, you want this? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I grew up in New England, where I grew up with four seasons, and so all the changing in the seasons, they kind of set your biological clock. So I know what he means by delineate your life. So like when the fall is coming and it starts to get cold and the leaves start to turn, it's kind of when I would go back to school and you start to like bunker down and get ready for winter and like hunker into like learning and I don't know, advancing those kinds of like intellectual things.
Mm.
But here it's like Never Never Land and it's just freaking sunny all the time. So things don't change as much and it's hard to you have to have a lot more like discipline in that way to say, oh, I gotta bunker down and figure this out. So there's pros and cons. However, it's wired into me. So when we miss a season, it's weird. Or after, and especially in the beginning, first moving here, it's weird. But my connection to Ohio State, Michigan is that this game always happens at the last Saturday in November. So it delineates a lot of people's lives. And so it's part of the routine of Thanksgiving and the end of fall moving into winter, and they think about this Ohio State Michigan football game, and I think it's a marker in a lot of people's lives who really care about the game.
Okay, well done. Because I guess that's the thing. When you're a kid, it's like, oh yeah, you can say, yeah, I was in grade 3, grade 4, first year university. Like that's the way you divide your life. But once you're a grown up, and if the weather's always the same, it's like, I don't know what year that was. My 20 years blew by and I don't really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's strange.
But the game is somewhere where it's cold, right? So this is just a sort of or you're saying that people even around the country where it's warm, they sort of look at this game as something.
Well, I think that this game is so popular. It's, called the game for a reason. It's marked this part of the college football season for so long, and it's so iconically red versus blue. I think it registers in a lot of people's minds that this is, happens often right around Thanksgiving. So I think people, the couple days after Thanksgiving, I think they register it and they see it as, okay, this is like this is the end of fall. After this day, every single store in the country is going to be full of Christmas stuff.
Right.
So I think it does it in that way. Yeah, really, it just marks people's lives all over the country.
Okay, so yeah, I was thinking like Halloween did that here. It's like, yeah, it's Halloween. Okay, Christmas. November 1st.
Yeah, well nowadays it's like that. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
You go to Starbucks and it's already like red and green. You're like, what happened to Thanksgiving? It's gone.
Yeah. Well, I guess in Canada we have Thanksgiving like in October or something.
Right,
So yeah,
you have it really early.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like what I guess
Probably
'cause
earlier harvest. I don't know. That could be it.
maybe because like even our football, like the CFL has our Grey Cup is
Hmm.
like October, November, something like that. It's not
Right.
like when's the Super
Right.
Bowl? January or something?
Yeah. 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 February. Right. Yeah.
February. Wow. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about football, but I had a friend who was really into it in high school. So in grade 9, he made a football pool that we all joined. So I started researching it then, and I would look at the paper to look at the stats and everything. Uh,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, it was always interesting that if you had Buffalo and you're playing in
Hmm.
a wintry town, but is Miami coming up? Can they deal with winter? Can they know what snow is? Kind of thing. Um,
I think what will interest you the most about this documentary is that it's about football,
mhm,
but and it's very much in the weeds about this Ohio State Michigan rivalry and what's happened over its 117-year history. But really, it's like it takes a very scientific angle toward it and what makes rivalries different, why we as humans have formed rivalries.
mm,
Um, and it's rooted in like our tribalistic nature and creating an in group and an out group and identifying like, okay, these are the ones that I'm going to battle for resources. They are now our most salient rival. And so now
right.
sports has kind of become, there's such a juggernaut in culture and society that now this plays out in sports now. It's kind of a natural instinct. And so Ohio State Michigan is maybe the biggest, no, it is the biggest college football rivalry in the country. I mean, it started in 1897. I better have that right. It is, yes, 1897. So it predates the NFL. It predates a ton of, mainstream sports in North America. And so now it is iconic in that way. And so it's easy to point to it as like, this is the best example of a rivalry and how it kind of is inherently in us.
That's cool. Yeah, because it fascinates me like sports like that. Like it's so arbitrary who went to what school or who's from, you can get traded to a different team and now you're rivals with the other team. And it's like, but
Hmm.
humans are obviously hardwired. They've done those psych studies where, okay, you're the prisoners and you're the guards, and suddenly, the guards are evil and abusing like it's just so
Hmm.
easy to immediately separate people. It's like a Dr. Zeus. Oh, you have a star in your belly? You're our rival kind of thing.
Exactly. There's a lot to there's neuroscience in this about how you register your brain will literally react to seeing the color of a rival fan, and it'll trigger a part of your brain called the amygdala, which is where your fear and your aggression, your like survival instincts will come from. So over time, we kind of get trained, and so like if you see somebody in Ohio State red and you're a Michigan fan, like that scarlet color can be literally trigger you and be like, oh, rival, like Duke's up.
Right.
So same thing other way around, right? If you see the blue and gold, the maize and blue they call it of Michigan, you know, that's gonna strike an Ohio State fan to feel like you are not of my kind.
Yeah,
You're
yeah, that's interesting. I guess it's like, the same way gangs will have their gang color and you see a bandana, you're like, whoa, it's dangerous.
totally, totally, man.
Wow.
There's a lot of sports are not just a thing they kind of took over because of entertainment. It really is something that is hardwired into us in a way.
Yeah, yeah, we needed to, battle rival tribes. And then, for a while there, they had gladiators literally killing themselves. And okay,
Yes,
we can't do that
yes.
anymore, but we got, the gridiron.
But
That's,
it's safer, It's like a
yeah,
safe space for culture to get that out, right? As long as it's
yeah,
not spilling out into the streets and off the field, like, which some sports unfortunately do, and
yeah,
that is worth looking at on its own. But,
yeah.
in North America, football provides a really like, sure, it's aggressive. Yes, it's violent and it has its own issues as a sport, but the fandom around rivalries and whatnot, I think are very healthy in terms of expressing something that we need to do as humans. So
Yeah, I
it's
feel like you hear about in Europe, like riots and murders at soccer games and stuff, but not,
totally.
you don't really hear that. It's not like NFL games necessarily.
No,
Yeah.
no, we're lucky in North America that, it seems to be that sports has remained sacred in that way, where it
Mhm.
hasn't totally. There have been unfortunate instances for sure, but violence between fans and groups, and it doesn't happen very often, which is good.
All right. I've been informed that I have one last question. I'm just curious, how do you got involved in it? Like, why is this a particular interest for you?
Well, I've made a lot of. I mean, I do sports documentaries. I direct sports documentaries.
Okay.
But this one, I think, kind of got connected with a production company called DLP Media Group, who was producing it, who I've worked with in the past. But there's a very particular challenge in storytelling because like people have told the story of this rivalry in the past. It's not just like, hey, this is what's happened over the years. It was really taking this science approach. And I think I like that kind of thing, to kind of dive into something to the ground level. And we got really involved with professors and scientists and experts, and tried to weave the story of this rivalry in with their research about rivalries and how they motivate us and all this. So it was a really interesting challenge, that I don't know if I'm uniquely placed to have tackled it, but at least they knew I was gonna go for it, and we did. So I'm proud of what it is, and it's definitely not your average sports documentary. So yeah,
That's awesome. You've made a sports documentary that even somebody like me who doesn't care about sports or documentaries would be interested in.
there you go.
I like documentaries, I guess, but yeah, like just hearing you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, this is fascinating. I want to watch this. So that's awesome. I will check it out, and I imagine maybe this will be a whole thing. It'll be you're always doing sort of documentaries on things that are talking about an even bigger issue, like whether maybe it's sports messages or who knows what you'll be doing.
Yeah, I mean, sports can explain a lot about the world, I think. So
yeah,
that we'll see what comes next. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on, Josh.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I guess. And can I ask, do you know a guy named Trent Cooper? He directed a commercial from years ago that I wrote, and he does sort of sports commercials and all that. No, I guess not.
You do not know a Trent Cooper, unfortunately.
No? Then that's fine. Then that was a lame last question. I'll end the interview.
Josh, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
I know, I'm done.
In the next room, if you don't want to be popping out and going to the next Zoom.
I'm good. Thanks so much. Bye.
Thanks, Josh.